Hello everybody, I'm the one who calls myself Myco Myers, and today I have a popcorn tech grain spawn video for you. I'm going to be uploading a series of videos mainly for the beginners of the mycology world, the people who are using grow kits, pre-made substrates, and grains. Those things are good when you want to dip your toes in mycology, but after a while it does get expensive, and I'm here to show you how to do it yourself. I'm not a professional, I just do this for the research and the fruits. So with that being said, let's start.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck. What's up on my money, motherfucker?
Let's get down to it, boppers.
Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is just make sure you have everything that you need. I can't tell you how many times I went to go do grain spawn or substrates and realized I don't have enough jars, I don't have enough bags, I don't have enough vermiculite, cocoa coir, whatever. So just gather up everything before you start. Make sure you have enough supplies. So the first thing we have here obviously is popcorn. I like using popcorn more than wild bird seed or rye berries. It's just easier to break up when it's in the jar. It's easier to work with. I got this at the grocery store. It's easy to find. You can use any popcorn. Just make sure the ingredients you can see here, it only says whole grain popping corn. If it says anything else, don't use it. Don't get none of the flavored popcorn. You can use yellow or white popcorn, it doesn't matter. Here we got some coffee. This is actually a Keurig cup that was already used. You don't have to use coffee, it's just something a little extra I like to add to the grain spawn. The mycelium does like it. What we have here is some gypsum. Gypsum is a calcium sulfate, and I'm not gonna front like I know what that means. You can get this at the brewery store for some reason. The one I got this from was called More Flavors. I'm sure any brewery store has it. You can buy it online. What it's used for besides this is purely speculation. Gypsum is also an optional ingredient. You don't need this. It's just an additive. Here we have some vermiculite. This is actually a different bag than I normally use. At the time when I was recording this, I couldn't get the one I normally get at Home Depot, but I kind of like this a little better. The vermiculite is a little more ground up and it's easier to use. I got this on Amazon and it was a little more expensive. Here we have the vessel you will be putting all of your grain spawn into. This is just a regular mason jar with 2 holes drilled into the lid. You can see here that red stuff is an RTV gasket maker, and the other hole will be covered by micropore tape or paper tape. The RTV hole will be used as a self-healing injection port, and that open hole will be the fresh air exchange, which is why you need to put the micropore tape over it. I didn't have any RTV gasket maker when I was filming this, but here's a picture of it. Just make sure you get the high temp. And here's the aluminum foil and the micropore tape. That's what it looks like. In the stores, it'll be called paper tape. It's usually in the first aid section at your local Walmart, CVS, whatever. And this bad boy is the motherfucking pressure cooker. Now, if you're gonna start mycology, I suggest getting a pressure cooker. I know some people are turned off by the pressure cooker. They don't know how to use it. They're afraid to use it. You don't need to get a big fancy pressure cooker like this one. All you have to do is make sure that the pressure cooker you get can reach 15 PSI. I mean, you can do a lot of shit with this motherfucker. I got this on OfferUp for like 60 bucks. So we're gonna start this off. Put all your popcorn in a pot. I used both containers of popcorn for this. It made about 8 16-ounce jars. I actually should have used a bigger pot when doing this because towards the end I had to add more water. When you're doing this at home, just be generous with the water. It doesn't matter, the popcorn is gonna soak it all up. That was 1 spooky tablespoon of gypsum, and right now we got the fire on high. We're waiting for our pot to boil, and we're putting in our additives. Like I said before, coffee and gypsum are optional. I don't like to put in a lot of the additives into my grains. In my opinion, I feel like a little goes a long way. Here we have the coffee. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit in there. I don't have an exact measurement. I like to eyeball it. And here's a video of Emerald himself showing you how to do it at home.
Just grab a little pinch like this.
Yeah.
Okay, and you just bam, like that.
Bam! Alright, now we got the water boiling. After you put in all the additives, mix it up. Keep the fire on high, wait for it to boil. I would mix this every couple of minutes just to make sure it doesn't get too cooked. You don't want to crack your corn jimmy, and after it's boiling, you want to turn the fire down to a low medium, and that's what you want it to look like. Not a lot of activity, not a lot of bubbles, just mostly steaming. Once you turn down your fire, set a timer for 45 moments.
Moments later.
Now we're gonna drain the water. You can use a strainer for this. I just used a sink. I cleaned it out before I used it. I adjusted the stopper so the water can drain through it. And as you can see, that shit is really hot. And I'm about to do something stupid here in a second, just watch. But what you're gonna wanna do is dump the water out, spread the popcorn throughout the bottom, let the water drain, let it sit for about 45 minutes to an hour. Watch this, watch this. Totally burnt my fucking hand right there. So what you're gonna want to do is use the spoon that you were mixing your popcorn with in the pot, and don't do what I'm doing, because right now I'm fucking burning my hand. I'm trying to play it off like I'm not, but I just decided to take the bump because I was filming the video. So like I said before, just let this sit for about 45 minutes to an hour. Come back and jar it up. I don't do the tissue test because I'm gonna put vermiculite at the bottom anyway. That's just my method, and that's just how I do. So now you can see we're here to jar it up. A little bit of vermiculite at the bottom, don't put too much. I'm gonna fill this jar a little bit more than you usually see people do. To me, popcorn is easy to break up, so I like to fill my jars up all the way. I actually should have left a little room at the top because one of the jars did have a little bit less than the others, but to me that's perfectly fine. Fill the jars up as much as you want, whatever your preference is. I just like to do mine this way. And there you can see that's how much I like to fill it up. I never really have a problem breaking up that much popcorn. That's why I like to use it. So here we have all the jars. I filled up 8 jars. One of them has a little less than the others, but that's okay. And now I'm going to show you how to put on the foil and the paper tape. So how I do it, I put one piece of tape going vertically, one piece of tape going horizontally. The order doesn't matter. I just like to put 2 pieces of tape. It helps me sleep at night. And then after that, you just slap on a piece of foil on the top. You're going to want to make it tight. You don't have to put a rubber band on it. I find that it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that the foil is nice and tight around it, as you can see with these other jars. After that, you will be putting all of your jars into the pressure cooker for sterilization. Now here we have all the jars in the pressure cooker. You don't want to have the jars touching, just spread them out evenly. I actually fucked up and I didn't show how much water I put in, but I would put in about 3 inches of water. Now this thing here, I don't know what it's called. I just know that it's an indicator that lets you know that there's pressure going into your pressure cooker. Splat! Alright, enough of that. So now once the indicator has activated, you can now put the weight on top of that steam hole and let the pressure build up. If you don't have one of those indicators, let the steam shoot out like that for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then you can put your weight on. So now you can see there's 15 pounds of pressure in the pressure cooker. Once it hit that, I turn the fire down so it could stay at a consistent 15 pounds of pressure, and then I set my timer. That is very important. If the pressure cooker drops under 15 psi, you will have to start the timer over. You don't want to fuck this part up. It's the most important part of the process. So now we have the timer set 2 hours. My fire is set to a low medium. Yours might be a little different depending on what pressure cooker you use or what stove you have. And you're gonna want to watch over this for 2 hours.
2 hours later.
So now we're back 2 hours later. We're gonna turn off the timer, we're gonna turn off the fire, and we're gonna wait for the pressure in the pressure cooker to die down. And the way to tell if there's no pressure in the pressure cooker, that pressure indicator will drop down, the weight will stop dancing, and you can open your lid. The process takes about an hour, so if you don't have that pressure indicator, just wait 1 hour.
1 hour later.
So I actually took this out a few hours after it was done. The jars are pretty hot once they come out, so I would suggest you do the same. You can see that there's a little bit extra water in the jar, but that's okay. The vermiculite and the popcorn are gonna soak that all up. Wait until the jars have had a couple of hours to cool down before you inoculate them, and you shouldn't have any problems. If you can see that jar in the bottom left corner, I actually fucked the tape up on that one. You don't want any folds in your tape. You want it all to be flat. But yeah, that's it. Let me know if you liked or disliked the video, and follow my Instagram for pictures of fruit.
The echo